I want to ask you something simple. When did you last tell someone on your team, specifically, genuinely, not in passing, that their work mattered? Not a general well done, not a thank you in a group email. A specific, direct acknowledgement of something they did and why it mattered. If you are struggling to remember, your team may be living in a recognition drought. And droughts are expensive. People leave them. Recognition is one of the most researched topics in organizational psychology, and the findings are remarkably consistent. People do not leave organizations primarily for money. They leave because they do not feel valued, because their contribution goes unacknowledged, because they could give more and nobody seems to notice or care. Gallup research consistently finds that employees who do not feel adequately recognized are twice as likely to say they will leave their organization in the next day. Twice as likely from one variable, recognition. And yet, most managers significantly overestimate how much recognition they give. I have asked managers across organizations in Northeast India, how often do you recognize your team members' contributions? The typical answer is regularly, monthly at minimum, often more. Then I ask their team members the same question. How often does your manager specifically acknowledge your contribution? The gap is almost always significant. What feels like regular recognition to the manager feels like occasional or rare recognition to the team member. This gap between how much recognition managers think they are giving or give and how much the team actually receives, this is the recognition drop, and it is draining talent from organizations every day. Three principles for recognition that actually works. Principle 1, specific over general. Most recognition fails not because it is insincere, but because it is vague. Well done, great work, good job. These phrases feel like recognition to the person giving them. They feel like background noise to the person receiving them because they could apply to anything. They do not tell the person what specifically they did well. They do not tell the person that you actually noticed. They feel generic because they are generic. Specific recognition is completely different. The way you handle that client conversation this morning, you stayed calm when they pushed back and you found a solution that they did not expect. That took real skill. That sentence takes 15 seconds to say and it is remembered for months because it tells the person three things simultaneously. You noticed, you understood what was difficult, and you specifically valued how they handled it. The discipline is to notice specifically and name specifically, not you did well today, but here is the exact thing I noticed. Here is why it was difficult, and here is why it mattered. Principle 2, immediate over default. Recognition loses its power with time. A piece of recognition given in the moment of the achievement or as close to it as possible carries far more weight than the same recognition given weeks later in a performance review. This is because immediate recognition connects directly to the experience. The person is still inside the moment. They remember exactly what they were feeling when they handled that situation. Your acknowledgement lands inside that feeling. Deferred recognition in a quarterly review, in an annual appraisal, arrives when the moment is cold. The person remembers what they did, but they are no longer feeling it. The recognition lands differently, weaker, more procedural. The discipline here is to notice and name in the moment, not to store up observations for the next formal review. To say the thing when you see the thing. Principle 3, public over private where appropriate. Private recognition is valuable. It is intimate. It communicates that you notice something the person may not have expected anyone to see. But public recognition, acknowledgement in front of peers, in a team meeting, in a message to the broader group, adds a dimension that private recognition cannot. It communicates not just that you noticed, but that the contribution was worth the wider team knowing about it. Elevates the person in the eyes of their colleagues. And it signals to the whole team what kind of work and what kind of behavior is valued here in this organization, in this team. The caveat: public recognition must be genuine and not routine. Manufactured public recognition, a monthly employee of the month that nobody takes seriously, creates more cynicism than motivation. The power of public recognition is its selectivity. When it is given rarely and specifically, it lands. I was running a diagnostic in a corporate organization in Assam. Interviews with team members across levels. One conversation stayed with me. A woman, 12 years in the organization, senior enough to have institutional knowledge that would take years to replace. Quietly excellent. The kind of person that organizations often take for granted because she never complained and always delivered. She told me she was thinking about leaving. I asked why. She said, "In 12 years, I have never once had my manager tell me specifically what I do well. I know when I have done something wrong. There is always feedback for that. But when I do something well, nothing. Silence." She paused. Then she said, "I have started to wonder whether I am actually good at this, whether any of it matters, whether anyone would even notice if I left." I went back to her manager, genuinely good person, technically competent, committed to his team. I asked him, "When did you last specifically acknowledge her contribution?" He thought, then said, "I tell her she is doing well in her reviews." I said, "When did you last tell her specifically what she does well? Not in a review, in a conversation, this week, this month?" He could not remember. She had been excellent for 12 years and she was about to leave because nobody had told her they noticed. He had the conversation with her that afternoon. She is still dead. Here is your challenge this week. Pick one person on your team. Think of one specific thing they have done well in the last 2 weeks. Not generally well, specifically well. Tell them today, specifically, in person or on a call, not in a message. Just one person, one specific acknowledgement today. And tell me in the comments, when did you last receive recognition that genuinely mattered to you? What made it land? CHROs, DM me recognition and let us talk about building recognition into your leadership culture systematically. I am Bikash Kalita. See you next week.